Let's turn to Wicked. So Wicked's the biggest movie in the world right now. It's taking nearly 150
a
million.
woke movie doing great at the box office. Shocker.
What's that?
Shut up.
I said shocker. You was,
They
earlier
just
it
made
was
over
someone
$10
who was saying,
million
oh,
over the amount they spent on it. That's not exactly.
Hang on, what's the point you're
raving
making?
success.
No, but it could have flopped.
What's the point
They
you're
barely
making?
broke
It
it
did
even.
well.
Hang on. What is the point you're making, Ernest?
So Nerdrotic is back on Piers Morgan Uncensored, and in this one, he's going to debate, again, woke Ernest, right? But it's cool to me to see Nerdrotic on Piers Morgan like this because I've been a fan of his channel for a long time. I love the topics that he covers and the perspective that he gives, and the live show that they do on Friday Night Tights is something that I try to check in as often as I can to watch. And they're going to talk about this new movie, Wicked, which I'll be honest with you, from everything that I've seen on X, it's nothing that I'm interested in going to see. And don't get me wrong, I used to watch The Wizard of Oz as a kid growing up. I watched it multiple times as a kid who grew up in Kansas. It was something that I liked, right? But this one, it just doesn't look interesting to me. And well, let's just go ahead and check it out.
The point I'm making is that I
speak.
find it interesting that there was this during the whole election cycle, there was all this talk about, oh, people are done with this woke marketing and this type of stuff. But it outpaced Gladiator at the box office. This very hyper-masculine film that was supposed to be the big juggernaut, but Wicked is doing numbers. People don't like musicals anymore, but all of a sudden people went to go see Wicked.
Okay, first of all, Gladiator is underperforming.
Hang on,
and
let me
secondly,
play.
they've just broken even.
All right,
they're not. They just made the money.
Well, it is indisputably doing well. I want to play it. This is very odd. This is like a mashup from the press tour from Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, who've been just behaving in a slightly odd manner.
Oz is so full of queerness and celebration and beautiful differences, and so is Earth.
This week, people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that was happening.
Every day in the Emerald City is a pride parade.
Oh my God,
right?
yeah.
I mean, look at
That's actually great.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Even like the chickens. Those
Snow
chickens
leopard with
are
the little
gay.
cape.
Seriously. Now you got me triggered. The chickens? You do not talk about chickens like that. Gotta apologize to my chickens out back because that was nonsense. And it's bullshit that they're trying to actually make this, classic movie all about queerness and gayness when there was nothing about The Wizard of Oz, at least in my opinion, from my perspective, that sent off that type of message, that type of signal. So if weird Ariana Grande dressed in some weird outfit and this person next to her, who I don't even know who she is, but she looks like a pincushion with 900 piercings. Look, if you're into that, that's your thing. I'm not judging you, but this person, both of them, look super weird and super unappealing, and I don't want to watch the movie based on what they're saying just sitting there alone. I don't think they're doing any justice to this movie if they're trying to appeal to anyone outside of the gay or queer community, which is weird to say because that was an insult back in the day, but it's not anymore. Anyways.
Now, Nerdrotic, it's all a bit weird. There's a suggestion there's a kind of wicked cult that's being developed here.
Well, there's always been a wicked cult, to be real, with the play that, full disclosure, I saw 20 years ago on a date with my wife. And it is patient zero for the subversion of expectations. But this has had a fan base for decades. This was always going to do well if they made it close to the source material. And it was a film made for women and gay men, and they are going to see it in droves, and that's fine. That's the kind of film that should exist. For me, I just don't want Marvel to be wicked or Star Wars to be wicked. That's where the problem. This movie proves there's a difference between men and women. They both like different things. And not all women will agree, but they will definitely go see it. We saw it with Barbie. I would say Barbie was more hyper political than this. This is just a play where people break out in song. I did see it with my wife. It's the ninth circle of hell for me. I hate musicals, but but I went because my wife has gone to a lot of superhero movies with me.
I'll probably take my daughter to see it. But Esther, today, hilariously, the British Board of Film Classification has issued a trigger warning on Wicked because of potential discrimination against green-skinned women and persecution of talking animals. The warning, issued on their website, states a green-skinned woman is mocked, bullied, and humiliated because of her skin color. A green-skinned woman.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a green-skinned woman in the real world. Even Ernest knows there are no green-skinned women. Right, Ernest?
I don't know.
Yes?
No, I agree.
Thank you.
I agree.
No, I'll come back to you,
no
Ernest.
green-skinned
I'll come
woman.
back to you. I just wanted to get clarification. There are no green-skinned women in the world. Esther, why do we have to endure this crap?
To be honest, I'm such a cynic. First of all, I also hate musicals. There's not enough money you could pay me to go and watch that film. But also, I think I'm the cynic in me is saying this is a PR move. This is saying, oh, slap something ridiculous on it so that the Daily Mail will pick it up, which it has, by the way. One of the most read newspapers in the country has picked it up. I don't think anyone's going to mistake the discrimination of green-skinned people, one, because it doesn't exist. I mean, why didn't they draw parallels with, I don't know, yellow-skinned people with jaundice? It's ridiculous. They're doing this as a PR stunt.
And the persecution.
No one's going to be offended by
and
this.
Ernest, the persecution of talking animals, for God's sake.
Yeah, like Dr. Dolittle.
No, I think, to be honest, I think that trolling's on both sides, clearly. Clearly, they succeeded in what they knew was going to happen, right? That certain, publications that clearly look for stuff like this to get angry about, we're going to react in the way
It is
they
not
did.
the British Board of Film
you have to
Classification.
get to a point where you
It's
look
not
at it and
their
say
job
it's-
to goad people that they don't like.
They're definitely not trolling. It's a virtue signal, right? They're basically out there saying that everyone is acceptable, even in their weird ways. It's not a troll at all. Whatever reason that Ernest has to justify it. Obviously, he's going to defend it because it is basically in his circle, right? He's a homosexual dude. This movie is, we just heard Ariana Grande and the other ladies say that it's all about being queer and all this nonsense. So, of course, this dude is going to try to defend it. But the thing is, people don't dislike it. People aren't going to watch it, which, they're claiming that it's doing well at the box office. And if it is, it's because there's a long-standing fan base that starts with the Wizard of Oz that moved on to the musical play called Wicked, and then they finally made this movie who is starring Ariana Grande, who is a super famous actress, singer. I don't know. I think she's a singer, right? And then it has Malcolm from Jurassic Park in it, whatever his real name is. So I mean, there's some pretty famous individuals in it, and they marketed the crap out of it. It was all over the Thanksgiving Day parade, just multiple things, right? And so, anyway, let's continue.
It's supposed to be a neutral organization.
I think, right. True. But I think part of it is to start a conversation, right?
I bet you
a
they
lot
were
of what
paid
goes on
a
in Wicked.
handsome sum to do this. I can guarantee there is some email chain somewhere in that organization that says we will give you a nice donation. It's obvious. There's no such thing as green-skinned people.
No, but you can't take it so literal. I think it's interesting. Like conservatives, far right, you all have imagination about other people all the time, about what they're doing and what they're not doing. But for whatever reasons, even in fantasy and joke and humor, you all don't even be able to be lucid, like let go about that.
Ernest,
I think
hang on. Ernest, you do understand
Gary's
that
face.
just because people don't sign up to your very woke worldview, it doesn't make them automatically far right. I mean, you are aware of that, right?
No one is offended by this. It's
do
not
you
like
think
it's
I have
Nobody
a
in this
woke
desk
world?
is far right.
You're making assumptions about my values. I'm not in this woke world. I think I'm in a very conscious world. I don't use the word
Yeah.
woke.
What does that mean?
You mean
use
you're
it more
more
than I
awake
do.
than us because you've been so woke
Define
for
that,
so long?
please.
What do you?
I'm saying I'm more conscious. I have
Really?
more compassion for
You think
different
you have a
people.
bigger conscience than the
I have
rest
more
of us?
compassion for different people.
Oh, shut up,
I would say
Ernest.
compassion for different people.
Really?
Yeah.
It's true.
No, you don't.
Yes,
No,
I
you
have
don't.
compassion for transgender people.
Do you have,
I have compassion for people who look different
all right,
from myself.
Hang on.
So you're assuming
I have
we don't?
compassion for different folks.
Apparently, we don't have compassion for those
I think
people.
some of the
Fine.
things you all have said on this show proves that.
Do you have compassion for
I have
women?
compassion for green-skinned people.
Do you have compassion for? Do you have,
Not trolling.
do you have compassion for women in women's sport or not?
I have compassion for anyone in any sport.
Right. But if you had compassion for them, you wouldn't want trans athletes ruining the integrity of women's sport. Let's move.
Burn, straight up burn there by Piers Morgan, of course. And the dude couldn't even admit to having compassion for women in women's sports. I'm willing to argue, I'm willing to bet that Ernest doesn't have any compassion for people that voted for Donald Trump. He's obviously drawing a line and a distinction between conservatives and whatever it is that he identifies with. So my guess, my bet is he's not willing to have compassion for anybody on the other side of that line. But as he just said, he has compassion for even green-skinned people, which is odd because if you remember, CNN during the pandemic made Joe Rogan look as green as possible. So that means that this dude has compassion for Joe Rogan? I doubt that, right? The only green-skinned person in history, according to CNN. But seriously, this dude's a joke. He's a complete woke idiot, and he's out here virtue signaling, acting like he's the one that has compassion, when the reality is the tolerant left ain't so tolerant, right? It's the conservative people who tend to go to church more. A big part of these individuals give tithe, they give support to individuals, other individuals, like missionaries and stuff like that. They create the food banks. Like seriously, there's way more compassion within the Christian base, which I would argue is made up majority by conservatives, than there is in this tolerant woke left. You know, they want to cater to the fringe, but they actually are on the outside, and we just saw that represented by the 2024 election, where Donald Trump won the Electoral College. He won the popular vote. Americans aren't for this crazy fringe left. And like I was saying, I mean, it's the church-going people that are taught, the Jesus followers, essentially, that are taught to have compassion on those that are less fortunate, even the criminals in our society. It's just across the board, right? They put their money where their mouth is, and I very seriously doubt that Ernest is contributing any money to anything that he says he has compassion for, besides his tickets to go to the movies, right? This particular movie, Wicked. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm still in that post-Thanksgiving fog, so I just wanted to have a nice, chat over a movie, basically, although I can't help but make it political. But hopefully you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Let me know, are you still in this post-Thanksgiving fog? Did you guys eat too much? I feel like I'm hungover, even though I haven't had a drop of alcohol in days. But it's all good. It's all good. My general take over this Thanksgiving was that it was a lot more peaceful at the Thanksgiving table than people thought it was going to be. People thought there was going to be a lot of political fights and infighting going on, and apparently the reports that I'm seeing on X, most of those individuals who are the fringe essentially just chose not to show up, and that made for a much more peaceful time for the most part, from what I've seen. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. You won't want to miss it.